welcome back. I am so excited to bring you this tutorial because when I started creating this look, I really had no clear direction that I wanted to go in. I didn't know if I wanted it to be smoky or, who am I kidding? I knew I wanted it to be smoky. I didn't know if I wanted it to be colorful or neutral or all matte. I just knew that I wanted to incorporate the new Makeup Geek matte eyeshadows as well as the duochrome eyeshadows. So as I was doing the look, this is what I created, and I absolutely love these duochrome shadows. I think that they're giving this look an added pop and a really cool dimensional sort of look. Makeup Geek is definitely my favorite brand when it comes to eyeshadows. The quality is just so good, especially for the price. I believe these shadows retail at around $6 and you really can't beat that. When I was trying to revamp my shadow collection, I was at IMATS and I literally went crazy when I found out the price. I think I bought every single eyeshadow they make, minus the ones that were sold out at the time, which I went and bought online later anyway. They're just that good. So if you're an aspiring artist or trying to build a makeup collection and don't know where to start and are overwhelmed by the prices of a lot of makeup items, start with Makeup Geek, because for $6 you can basically start an entire collection, and trust me, I have now filled about 4 to 5 Z palettes filled with just Makeup Geek eyeshadows. I love them that much, and I actually condensed all the matte and duochrome into this one Z palette, and there's actually 5 other ones that I couldn't fit in here, and those are in the bottom corner of this guy. They're right here. But the ones that I'm going to be using today for this look are all in this palette, and you can just see they're so pretty. I love them so much. So if you guys love this look and want to see how I created it, just keep on watching. Alright, I'm going to start by applying some foundation to the area around my brows so I can fill them in, and I'm doing something different today. I always use a beauty blender. You guys may have noticed that in my videos. But recently Zoeva sent me their brush set. I believe it's called the Rose Gold set or Rose Golden, and I love these brushes for foundation. And normally I don't use a brush for foundation, but these guys are awesome. So I'm going to start by using the 102 Silk Finish brush to apply some foundation to the area around my brows and my lids before I go into eyeshadow. And the foundation I'm using is the Koh Gen Aqua Foundation in shade 123. I don't even know if this brush is meant for foundation, but it's like a beauty blender on a handle. It's just so good. Before filling in my brows, I'm just gonna dust some powder around that area to make it easier to apply the brow product and so it's not so slippery and creamy and wet. And I'm gonna be using the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish in the shade Light Plus and Smith Brush 112. Like always, I'm using the Anastasia Brow Powder Duo in Chocolate and Delium Brush 735 to fill in my brows. To prime the lids for shadow, I'm going to be using the Mercier Eye Basics Eyeshadow Primer in the shade Cotton. I'm just going to do like a couple little dots on the lids and then blend it out with my fingertip. Using that same Smith 112 brush, I'm going to again dust some of that mineral powder across my lids to prep for eyeshadow. I always love using a face powder to prep the lids versus an eyeshadow because I find that when blending it out, it just looks more seamless and it tends to blend into your skin better, especially for a smoky eye, whereas an eyeshadow could be a little too nude or not as smooth of a transition like a face powder. So I really have no idea what look I'm going for or what colors I want to use, but these are all of them right here. And I don't know, I'm gonna just kind of go for whatever speaks to me, I guess. So let's see what we come up with. So the first shadow I decided to pick up is called Petal Pusher. It's like a really soft dusty rose, and I'm going to apply it to my crease using Smith Brush 232. The next color I'm going to pick up is Cherry Cola, and I'm going to use that same Smith 232 brush to apply it underneath where we applied the previous shadow. Someone recently asked me, I think it was in my Maybelline tutorial, why I add shadow in this inner corner right here, and I just personally think it makes my eyes look bigger. It's just another way to smoke out your eyes versus going smoky all the way around. I like to smoke it out the most up to the brow right here, and then kind of drag it down and wing it out. And it also allows me to play with a little more color. So normally you'll see it in my looks like on Instagram or ones that I do here. I usually will add like a cool added color there at the end just to add a little, I don't know, just to spice it up a little. And then using a Sigma E40 brush, I'm just gonna blend these out. I'm really loving the color that Petal Pusher and Cherry Cola combined sort of created. It almost looks more purple versus a dusty rose, which is what I thought I was going to create, or like a burgundy eye. So because of that, I'm going to pick up this color next. It's called Curfew, and I'm going to apply it to the inner and outer corner to create a spotlight eye using the Smith 230 brush. And very softly blend it in towards the center of the crease. Blend out the edges, don't blend out the center or go on top of the actual eyeshadow that we just placed. Just blend around the edges. For the spotlight in the center, I'm debating between these two shadows. One has more of a blue reflect and the other one is almost like a really iridescent purple. You know what, I'm going to use both. I'm going to use this one for the spotlight in the center of the eye and I'm going to use this for an inner corner highlight. That's what we're going to do. Using a Smith 253 brush, I'm going to apply Blacklight, which is the one with the blue reflect, onto the center of the lid where there is no eyeshadow. And then to give that shadow a little more intensity, pick it up on the brush and spritz it with Fix Plus. That'll make it a little more intense on the lid. And then again, using that Smith 230 brush that has the purple eyeshadow on it in the inner and outer corners, it's called Curfew. I'm going to just blend that purple shadow into the center highlight. I'm gonna stop with the eyes here and move on to the skin so that way I can go back and finish the eyes once I have the concealer underneath and all that good stuff. So I'm gonna go back in with that foundation that I used around the brows and on the lids and apply it to the rest of my skin, and that's the Koh Gen Aqua Foundation. But for the rest of my skin, I'm actually going to be mixing in the darker shade of the Koh Gen Aqua Foundation to customize my color, because the one I applied on my lids is lighter, but that works because I wanted the brow bone to look highlighted. So I'm going to mix these two guys together and then apply it to the rest of my skin using the Zoeva 102 Silk Finish brush. And I always like to mix the foundations together on the back of my hand with a concealer brush and then apply whatever is left over on the brush to my skin, just so I don't waste it, and then blend it out with the brush or beauty blender. But in this case, we're using a brush. And I'm not really doing buffing motions, I'm more so doing patting and stippling motions to just really apply that foundation. I'm not really like move it around. The only time I really do a sweeping motion is when I'm going down the neck. For concealer and a highlight, I'm going to be using the Tarte Maracuja Creaseless Concealer in the shade Fairly Light Medium. It's really hard to read the writing on this guy. And I'm going to use that same concealer brush to apply it to the areas that I want to highlight and conceal, and then blend it out with that same Zoeva brush I used to apply my foundation. I did concealer around the rim of my lip because I don't know if you've noticed on camera, but the outline of my lip seems to be kind of uneven. It's like one of my things that I like really hate, which is why I love lip liner. Thank God for lip liner. But by adding concealer to that area, it gives me a much cleaner finish when I apply my lip color. Using a Zoeva 110 brush and some loose powder, I'm using the Amazonian Clay Smooth Operator Finishing Powder from Tarte. I'm going to pack on that loose powder to areas of my face that tend to crease up or get a lot of product buildup, like underneath the eyes and around the nose. And then to set the rest of my face, I'm going to be using the Zoeva 106 powder brush and that same MAC Mineralized Skin Finish powder in Light Plus that I used on my eyes. to set the rest of my face. Now that I have set everything with powder, I can go back and finish the rest of the eyes. And the first shadow I'm going to pick up is the color Petal Pusher, which I first applied to the crease. And I'm now going to apply it to the lower lash line using the Smith 230 brush. Using a Smith 220 brush, I'm going to apply that same vibrant purple called Curfew that I have on the inner and outer corner of the eye to the lower lash line. Using that same Smith 253 brush that I used to apply shadow to the center of the lid, I'm going to use it again to apply the color Phantom to the inner corner for a really nice highlight. Oh no! Oh my god, I really hope that didn't break. That was a close call, you guys. Close call. To fill in the waterline, I'm going to be using one of the new ColourPop cream gel liners in the shade Best O. Besto. Besto? Besto. It's like a really pretty deep plum, so it's a different alternative from using a black. So I'm going to fill in the lower and upper waterline with this guy. To finish the eyes, I'm just going to coat my lashes in Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara and then apply a pair of false lashes. Or I might not do lashes because I love the spotlight on this eye so much that I don't really want the lashes to cover it up. I actually really like the way this turned out without the false lashes, so I think I'm going to skip them for now. I might change my mind later, but Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara really kind of amped up my lashes, so I'm going to leave it like this for now and finish the rest of the complexion. For bronzer and to contour, I'm going to be using the Make Up For Ever Pro Bronze Fusion in the shade 20M. To highlight, I'm using the Anastasia So Hollywood Illuminator and that same Smith 118 brush. I tend to always use the same brush for bronzing, highlighting, and blush because I kind of like the way it looks when it all mixes together, and I always do the blush last so I'm not adding pink or, you know, rose colored or cheek colors to the rest of my face. For blush, I'm going to be using a pinch. I mean like the tiniest pinch of this blush. It's called Flush. It's the Amazonian Clay Longwear blush from Tarte. It's really bright, so literally a pinch. I'm even scared to use it. So I'm like barely tapping it on here. I don't know if you can see. And then because the eyes are such a statement piece in this look, all I'm gonna do is apply a nude lip gloss. This is Anastasia's gloss in Undressed. And I'm actually gonna change it because I forgot that this is more towards the peachy side and I don't really like the way it looks with this eyeshadow, so I'm gonna switch it up real quick. Okay, so instead I'm gonna be using Flesh Pot from MAC, which is Ultra Nude. Alright guys, that completes this look. If you guys enjoyed watching, don't forget to give it a thumbs up as always and hit that subscribe button so I can see you in the next one. Bye guys.